All right, welcome back to the Around the Leagues podcast. It's been a while. We've been gone for a few months. There's been nothing to talk about.
It's true.
Can't really control that, but we're back. We've got a big week ahead of us. We've got Major League Baseball. First pitch is tonight.
Yep.
We've got the Yankees and the Nationals at 7 o'clock Eastern, followed by the Giants and Dodgers at 10 o'clock. So both games will be on ESPN. Everybody should be able to watch it, or you can pay for it. You can find it on different spots, different streaming spots, and then yeah, basketball started last night with some scrimmages. There'll be more scrimmages this afternoon. I believe they tip off on the 31st.
hmm
I'm not 100% sure. Pacers I know have their first scrimmage today, I think at 3:30. Um, let's see. Soccer's been back for a couple weeks now in the U.S. They've been playing down in Orlando. European soccer's been back. I don't know about you, but I've put a ton of betting money into Premier League soccer. I've lost a lot of betting money through Premier League soccer. Uh, I hit my first bet, got caught up in it, and then lost it all right back.
mm,
But yeah, European soccer's been fun to watch. The difference between England and Spain compared to the MLS is
yeah. Yeah.
what you would expect. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's been nice having something good to watch. And then yeah, we'll get into some. I think hockey starts August 1st.
August 1st, you got the Stanley Cup qualifiers. They're going to be doing the round robin tournament uh, concurrently with the Stanley Cup qualifiers. It's going to be pretty fun. Got a lot of sports. They're going to do. I don't know how they're doing it for basketball, but they're doing March Madness style for the Stanley Cup this year. It's pretty sweet.
So is
I'm
it
looking
just
forward
one?
to it. No. So the Stanley Cup qualifiers, which is basically the 5 through 12 seeds, it's a best of five, and then once they get to the last 16, your traditional Stanley Cup is going to be best of seven. But in terms of March Madness, they're starting the games at 11 Central every day, and they're playing a game every time
Yeah,
slot. So I think it's pretty cool. So
I think NBA is doing something similar because they only have one court, so they're gonna be playing. I think they want to have games at noon, 3, 6, and 9, or something like that, and try to get as many in as they can.
yeah,
It'll be
and see, and with the NHL, the Western Conference, they're playing over there in Edmonton. Eastern Conference playing in Toronto, and so they got a couple different. They got a couple hub cities. They're going to be playing 5 games a day, at least here for the first couple weeks, and then once they get to the Sweet 16 or the actual Stanley Cup playoffs, I'm not entirely sure what the schedule will be. I think they're just trying to feel it out, but. In terms of the NHL and the NBA, Florida right now is kind of a hot spot in terms of the coronavirus, but Canada, boy, it seems like they've got that thing under control. So I
Yeah,
feel
it's very interesting to see they were fully complacent on having both of the hub cities
oh,
in Canada, but they're refusing to let
the Blue Jays.
the Blue Jays play, which they still haven't found a park, and their
No, they
season
haven't.
starts Friday.
Yeah, I think
So
their home opener is on. I want to say their home opener is like next Friday or something like that.
uh, so at least they've
Or
got a little bit of time. But I think
next Thursday.
yeah, I can't remember who it was today, but somebody had said that they've got clearance from Baltimore to use Camden Yards,
Oh, really?
but they have to get approval from the state of Maryland before they can do that. So
Yeah, and see, I
they've been
mean,
on a few different spots.
the Canadian government, they didn't want the Blue Jays using Rogers Center because they're going to be coming from the States into Canada, going back and forth. So, there's a possibility of transmission there. And I
Yeah,
get it. And with the hub cities, those guys are pretty much on lockdown in those respective cities. But it almost makes you wonder, why didn't the NBA, if they were going to choose one city, your defending world champions are from
yeah,
Canada. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's interesting. I think choosing Florida was a weird spot, but I mean, the NBA we've seen they did a good job of managing it after everybody was kind of relocated to the bubble for 2 weeks. They ended up having no positive tests, which is
Yeah,
more than or I guess not more, but better than what I expected coming in,
sure.
and it showed that they can put a plan in place and it can work. So hopefully that works for other sports. It'll be interesting to see how it works with baseball because they're going to be traveling, playing in home ballparks,
Sure, yeah.
and then I think that's gonna dictate what the NFL can do, because if we see baseball have problems with it, and maybe a lot of guys are missing time, then once NFL season comes, they have to decide if they want to move to a certain location and play, or if they want to just cancel it because they can't afford the, I guess, just the risk of having guys moving back and forth if that's not going to prove to work. So,
And also another thing to keep in mind, MLB's already decided they're playing this season without fans.
yeah.
The NFL, only one team to my knowledge has said they're not allowing fans in this season, and that's Philadelphia. I don't believe.
The Giants and Jets both have said so as well.
Okay, so you have 3 of 32 teams in the NFL who said they're not going to play with fans, but you have these 80,000 seat stadiums that even if you fill them to 25 or 50% capacity, that's still 20 to 25,000 people in
Yeah.
one place every Sunday. So I don't know if the owners can't get any money from revenue, and then all of a sudden you have to deal with some kind of money difference similar to what the MLB and the MLBPA just went through last month. Maybe an NFL season's maybe it's on short time. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna mean they're already talking about lowering salary cap in every league moving into next year, which is gonna hurt player contracts. I mean, guys who are already signed to big deals, they're gonna be fine, but then their teams are gonna be hindered. They're not gonna be able to really do it. Like, I mean, if you look at like Kirk Cousins, for example, I think he's set to make like 33 million against the cap next year. Well, if they don't have a season and that salary cap drops, he's still making 33, but they only have
Yeah,
probably another 100, because I think that they're expecting it to drop from like 180 million down to like 120, 130. So he's goes from taking up a small spot of that, or a small percentage of the salary cap, to then taking up almost a quarter of it. I mean,
sure.
a lot of teams with high money quarterback. I mean, Pat Mahomes just signed that big deal.
Hmm.
Chiefs just signed Chris Jones to a big. That's $70 million a year wrapped into 2 players. That's 60% of your salary cap if if they have to drop it. So
Sure.
a lot of major implications coming from this, but we'll see what the business brains behind everything can pull off.
Sure. And I mean, we have talked about a lot of what ifs. We have said, ML or NHL, NBA to come back here in a week and a half. NFL comes back in a month and a half. Tonight, though, baseball is back. American live sports is back tonight. In the 6 o'clock game, we got the Yankees playing the Nationals. Starting pitchers, probable pitchers. I believe it's Garrett Cole and Max Scherzer. Correct.
Yeah,
So,
easy choice.
well, I saw you on Twitter, and I gotta say I disagree. I gotta disagree.
Juan Soto's his daddy. Yeah, for those, I said, what I say, Garrett Cole's going to get rocked tonight or something like that. I just don't have confidence. I mean, I saw him, he struggled a little bit in the spring,
Yeah.
which, I mean, it's to be expected. Nobody cares about spring training, but I don't know. I'm confident. I think the Nationals have it, so
I don't know.
Soto's going to go 3 for 3 with 3 jacks.
I don't know, man.
I'll walk them later on.
I think the Yankees could go 60-0 this year, man. I think they could put up the first undefeated season in MLB history.
Good. Ooh, speaking of, I want to check something real quick.
But in the 9 o'clock game tonight, we have the Giants at the Dodgers. We have Johnny Cueto and Clayton Kershaw going off in that game.
Really good pitching matchup in 2012. Let me tell you about.
Oh goodness. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. I think this 60-game format. I'm not a giant fan of it, but under the conditions, I think it's fine. I think we're gonna see some surprising stuff this year. I really do. I think we're gonna see. I think we might see someone make a run at 400. I think 21 home runs leads the league this year. I don't think we see a 10-win pitcher. What else? You might see someone put up a sub-1 ERA. I don't know. I think this is gonna be a pretty fun season, especially for the stats guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if, like, just from what I've seen watching the Premier League and some of the MLS, I wonder if it'll be the same in American sports, of just looking at, or I guess MLS is an American sport, but like when the Premier League came back, you had the top 5 teams in the league. They came back ready, and they were beating the brakes off of these lower squads. That was 6-0, 7-0, which you don't
Yeah.
see those scores a whole lot. So I'm curious if we get back into baseball and you see, I mean, if the Yankees play the Orioles, is it gonna be an absolute onslaught every single night, or are they still going to keep it competitive? Because I don't know if that discrepancy between good versus bad is going to be as noticeable. But
Sure.
speaking of the Orioles, we've got to adjust. We talked about them not hitting like 45 wins before the season started. Their new over/under line is at 20.5. That seems really high for a 60-game season. I would be smashing that under, but
Well, I don't know. I mean, 45 games. I mean, yeah, that's under a third of 162.
and
Yeah,
you're playing the AL East and the NL East. That's all they're playing. They're
yeah.
not beating the Yankees. They're not beating the Red Sox. I don't
No,
think they're beating anybody in the NL East.
they're
I
not
mean, their
beating
pitching
Tampa.
staff can't even. I bet their pitching staff couldn't even beat a Mets lineup of pitchers. DeGrom and Syndergaard would probably outscore the Orioles offense. So
You're telling me John Means ain't a Cy Young quality pitcher?
no, I don't think so. So
Well, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny you say that because I wanted to get into our renewed predictions for the year. We didn't mention our Cy Young, our MVPs, any of that when we did this back in February because, well, we still had spring training to go. Didn't know if injuries were going to happen, but the season starts tonight, so I think we should probably get into that. So I'll ask you first. All things considered, who is going to be your NL MVP this year?
ooh, Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers are going to be tough, and I think him and Cody Bellinger are going to be so not fair together. And I think just the other night he smacked one. I mean, he just launched one into left field. So
Yeah.
he just signed his big deal. What yesterday morning maybe, for 12 years. I think he's gonna be fresh. He's gonna be ready to go, and I think Dodgers are gonna be the best team in the National League, at least in the regular season. So I'll give him the edge on that one. Who do you
I'll
got?
NL MVP. So this is the way I look at it. All right. So you have every team playing their division and the respective division in the other league. So Mookie Betts, good choice. You know what I mean. Cody Bellinger, also a good choice. But they're on the same team.
Yeah,
They're gonna take some votes away from each other. Also, it's not like they're gonna be playing the Marlins. They're not gonna be playing interleague against the Orioles. They're playing their interleague matchups are the Astros, the Angels. I mean, granted they got the Rockies, the Diamond, but they got to play these good teams. So I think you can't really give anybody in the NL West the MVP. Same token in the NL East, I don't really think you can give someone in the NL East the MVP just because you're going to be facing, just ignore the NL East for a minute. Think about who you got to play in the AL East. You got to play Ryu from Toronto. You got to play, you got to play Garrett Cole. You got to play. Who's the Red Sox pitcher that I'm thinking of? Chris Sale. You got to play. Yeah, you got to play Sale. You got to play. Man, who's the stud from Tampa that I'm thinking of?
Chris Snell.
Yeah, or Blake Snell. Yeah,
Blake Snell. Whew, that wasn't even close.
I mean, you got to play Blake Snell. You got to play, and in the NL East, I mean, you got to play Jacob DeGrom. You got to play Max Scherzer. You got to play Steven Strasburg. I mean, you got some heavy pitchers you're gonna have to face day in and day out in the NL.
But if you show up every day, then that's going to help your case. But it's just harder
that's
to
true.
show.
Yeah, that's true. I just think it's too risky to give it to someone in the NL East. So where does that get you to? That gets you to the NL Central. Who is the best player in NL? Well,
best player in the NL. Hang on.
No.
God damn! I almost blew right over that one. Christian Yelich, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I'm going with Christian Yelich. I think they're in terms of the safest picks. I just think it's that you're going to be playing the White Sox. You're going to be playing, you're going to be. I'm having the Reds. I mean, the best pitcher on the Reds is Sonny Gray.
Nah, the Reds have Luis Castillo and Trevor Bauer.
Okay, well,
Reds have a pretty good starting five, actually. Reds have one of the best like.
Well, I remember you said
five.
they were going to make it. They were going to make a deep run this year. I remember you predicting that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think in terms of the pitching, that's the best. That's kind of the best bet. You gotta go with Christian Yelich, I think, especially in the AL Central. I mean, the AL Central, I can't think of the Twins. I mean, they had a 100-win season last year, but they were kind of like the old school Tampa Bay teams where they really didn't have too many big name guys, but they all just really worked together as a team.
Yeah.
You know?
And they added, but we don't know how it's gonna work. I mean, they added Josh Donaldson and they added another power hitter. It might have been Encarnacion, maybe. I can't remember, but they don't have a. They got Barrios, but he's very up and down.
It's like, if you're playing 60 games, and let's just say you play all 60 games, you're getting anywhere between 260 and 300 at bats. And those 300 average it out to 280. So you get, no, I'm wrong on that. You're getting anywhere between like 240 and 280 because say you're getting 4.5 at bats a game, and so you get say 250 chances. All right, so say you have a home run percentage of 9%. So 259%, you're dealing with somewhere about 21 home runs. If say you could put up a 310 average, out of 280 at bats, I mean that's 80, 90 hits. You know what I mean? So I think, with it being a shortened season, I mean, there could be someone who we don't even know about who can make a real deep run. So I mean, but I think your safest pick in the NL is going to be Yelich.
Yeah, I think he's one of the just premier players all around. I think he can make a name for himself defensively, but he's also, I mean, he's going to hit for a high average. He's going to hit for power. He's going to get extra bases. He's going to reach base. I mean, he's probably the most complete player not in baseball, the National League, I think, but I mean, he's like the Mike Trout of the National League, basically.
Sure.
I think maybe not defensively, but at least in terms of if you have to pick a guy who's going to be all around, I think he's your safest bet in the National League. But
yeah,
one thing I do want to mention, real quick, one guy that I think this shortened season is going to hurt is my guy Starlin Castro. This dude is on pace to have, and he's already at 1,600 hits in his career, which is very under the radar. I think he was one of the youngest players ever to reach 1,000 hits. He doesn't hit for a high average. I think he's only hitting, he's hitting 270 in his career, which actually isn't too bad, but not getting all those extra reps, playing for a bad Marlins team, it's going to be tough for him. But early in his career, I think it wouldn't have been all that crazy to think he was going to reach 3,000 hits. I mean, he came out on fire. He hit for a high average his first couple of years, then he fell off. But man, him not having a full season underneath him is going to hurt. But
sure.
I'll still be pulling for him. He's my guy. So
let's switch over to the AL here. Who's your AL MVP?
Mike Trout. It's not even a question.
Yeah, I was about to say that's mine as well.
I don't know anybody else in the American League who can completely take over a game. I mean, probably going to win Gold Glove.
Sure.
Probably going to win MVP. Probably going to win Silver Slugger. Might even get a Triple Crown. Hell, give him Cy Young too. I mean, this dude can.
Yeah, I think Trout's pretty clear choice in terms of who I got in the AL MVP race. I think he might be really the best bet in terms of anybody.
Yeah.
But in terms of NL Cy Young, who do you got in the NL?
I want to be bold here. I want to pick a Mets guy. I'm not talking. I'm gonna say Marcus. If Marcus Stroman is healthy, he's my pick.
Whoa.
Yeah. He he came out this morning and said he has a foot issue that's making it hard for him to run. But like he said, coming off the mound and everything's fine. It's just he doesn't know if he can field a ground ball, so it might delay his first start. But him being the third guy in their rotation, I think he's going to get a lot of beneficiary looks. I think teams are going to be coming in. I like Stroman. I'm gonna go dark horse and try to
That's
get a little.
crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, Marcus
Like, go big,
Stroman.
go.
I mean, you'd be getting plus money on that if you were to yeah, cool. So Cy Young, this is the way I look at it. So 60 games, you're pitching every sixth or every, I mean
Fifth day.
every fifth day you're getting. So you might get 11 starts, maybe. You might get 11.
If you
And
don't
so
miss anything.
exactly, if you don't miss any, if you don't get suspended, I mean, a 2-week stretch could kill your chances at any postseason awards here, because
Yeah.
if you think about it, that's a quarter of the season. So you got to think about who's going to stay healthy, who are they playing, and the way that I look at it is the same reason why I went for NL Central in terms of the MVP. If you look
You're
in the
going
West,
Tyler Atwood. I love it.
no. But the way I look at it, I mean, if you're in the NL West, I mean, Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw, some of these guys, I mean, you're going to be playing Jose Altuve, George Springer. As much as we don't like them here and around the leagues, you got to play them. You got to play Mookie Betts. You got to play Cody Bellinger. You got to play Nolan Arenado. You got to play.
Machado and Tatis and.
Is that yeah? I mean, and the Pod.
Yeah, and it goes on and on.
Yeah, the Padres are dangerous this year too. But I think you look in the NL West. I just think there's not that many opportunities for a 10-win pitcher to be out there. There's not too many opportunities for someone to go 10-1 in the NL West.
Right.
Same in the NL East. You look in the NL East, the best pitcher in the NL East, Jacob deGrom, in my opinion. I think he might be the best pitcher in the league. I mean, he's led the league in ERA. He just, again, you're going to be playing. I mean, look at deGrom. You're playing Juan Soto. You're going to be playing Aaron Judge, Gleyber Torres, Giancarlo Stanton. You're going to be playing Acuna Jr. You're going to be playing Vlad Jr. You're going to be playing Bo Bichette, Bryce Harper. I mean, there's a lot of talent.
It's not really an easy gauntlet.
No. And it's not like you're getting a break from those guys, unless you're playing the Orioles or you're playing the Marlins maybe. But even the Marlins could sneak out 30 games this year. But I just think if you choose any pitcher from the NL East, that's a hell of a gauntlet. You got to run day in and day out. Because even if you pick like a Scherzer or Strasburg, it's not like the Mets don't have hitters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Granted, their pitching is far better than what their hitting is, but they still got some dangerous guys on.
They've got Pete Alonso. Jeff McNeil's a pretty solid contact hitter. He was atop the league, I think, last year for a while. So
exactly, and it's like, and really, you don't have to hit a whole bunch of home runs. I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of small ball this year. I think you're going to see a lot of guys change their strategies because every win counts. You can't take any off days this year.
That's one thing I'm interested to see is how often guys take a day off. I mean, we saw it a lot last year. Rizzo with the Cubs just took a day off because he'd have tightness. I don't know if he can do that, if he can afford to. They don't really have a replacement for him either. So
you really, really cannot. I think you're going to see a lot of more openers this year. The Tampa Bay strategy, I think you're going to see a lot more of that. I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see people be much more aggressive pitch hitting and pitch running late in the game. They have that new rule this year. If you go into extras, every inning starts with a guy on second. I think you're going to see guys be very, very aggressive this year. And so you got to take that into account. So that leads me back into the NL Central, just where I think the talent in the Central divisions is less than what you have on the coast. I'm going to go with Jack Flaherty.
Okay.
He led the league last year in WHIP. The dude, he went 11-8 last year, put up a WAR of 5.8. The guy, he's a right-handed thrower. He's a big guy, 6'4". You're going to be playing. I hate to say it, the Central just has less talent than what the West and the East does. It just does. And that's all you're playing. And so I think Jack Flaherty, the Cardinals went to the NLCS last year. They have some offensive talent. If Jack Flaherty, I think he's got the chance to maybe put up, an 8-3, 9-2 season. And I think 9-2 could be good enough to win the Cy Young this year.
I sticking with the NL Central real quick. Obviously, I don't want to keep harping on the Cubs, but They announced yesterday their starting five, their rotation.
Yeah.
It's not looking good. So Kyle Hendricks is their ace coming into the season, which is fine. I can live with that. Jose Quintana should be there too, but he sliced his thumb, pitching hand, doing the dishes.
Just in case, we're doing some work upstairs at the moment, and they are really loud.
Oh no, I don't know if I can hear it, but yeah,
I
Quintana.
certainly.
Quintana's not going to be ready for the first few weeks of the season, it looks like, so he's out of the rotation. John Lester hasn't looked good, so he slid all the way from the 1 to the 4 spot. Tyler Chatwood's now at the 3. Tyler Chatwood sucks. I don't know if I've ever talked about that on the air, but Tyler Chatwood is the absolute worst pitcher I've ever seen on the Cubs, and they've had some bad years. Yu Darvish, well, he's big money guy, so he's probably pretty good. No, you're wrong. So he came in their second exhibition game the other day against the White Sox. It was 5-0 before this son of a bitch gotten out. So I'm done with the Cubs pitching staff. I don't mean to call him a son of a bitch. That's probably a little too harsh. But yeah, Darvish, man, he's gonna come out one day. He's gonna draw. He's gonna strike out 13 guys. Perfect. He's gonna look real good. Maybe a couple hits, get the shutout win, and come out next outing and just get beat around the ballpark. So
Yeah.
it sucks, but it's the life of a Cubs fan. But
That's true.
what's the next award you want to look at?
AL Cy Young.
Oh, duh. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that one. Give me yours first. I got to think about it.
So I'm going with the homer pick. I'm going Garrett Cole. I think.
That'll be over tonight, but
Well, and it very may well be. I mean, I think one bad loss could take you out of this. Could take you out of it. The way that I look at it, so you're playing 40 games against your division, 20 against the corresponding division in the other league. That means the Yankees are playing 8 games against the Orioles. I mean, 8 games. Say he gets 2 starts. I'm going to go ahead and chalk those up as 2 wins. You know what I mean? He's also playing a Toronto team that, while very well could be very good, they're also very young, could be pretty bad,
Yeah, this could be a very tough year for Toronto. I think it's the same with San Diego, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I agree.
The upside is so high, but the risk of just not being able to click is too much to bet on.
And it's like these teams don't have very much time to figure it out. I mean, say you need 10 games to figure it out. Those 10 games could take you out of the playoff race. I mean, a 2-8 start could get you out of the playoffs very, very quick. And so I think you have Toronto. Say he gets 1 to 2 starts against Toronto. I feel pretty good against his chances against Toronto. Granted, he's got to play Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay could rock him. I think Tampa Bay could take 1, if not 2 wins off Cole. Boston, they've traded some pieces away. I really think it would depend on the matchup. If he goes up against Chris Sale, I think it would be a more difficult matchup. But if he goes up against someone like Evaldi or whoever else is on the back end of that lineup, I think Garrett Cole could pull out a win there. And of course, it really depends on who he gets in the NL East. If he gets the Marlins, I think that could be a win. I think if he gets someone like tonight against the Nationals, I think tonight could very well be a loss for Garrett Cole. Or at the worst, I think it very well could be a no decision. So I think this it's a safer pick, but it's by no means a slam dunk. I think Garrett Cole, the odds are better for him compared to other pitchers, but I don't think it's a shoe-in. Garrett Cole wins that Cy Young.
Yeah. I wanted to add. I don't know if you've seen anything. Have you heard an update on Tanaka?
Yeah, so I heard that he went and he pitched, but I don't think he's done live pitching yet against batters.
Yeah.
I think he was scheduled to do like a simulated game, and then they pulled him from that, and they were going to give him like one more time through that rotation to pitch. In terms of when he's going to start, I'm not entirely sure of that. I don't believe he's on the IL. I don't think he's on the IL. Which would indicate he would be ready to go this weekend. If
Yeah.
so I don't know. I think they're trying to buy his time. I don't think Tanaka should rush back though. I mean, dude took a
Nah.
that
Yeah,
was
if you guys don't know it, this is what their exhibition game, inter squad scrimmage. Giancarlo Stanton hit a line drive, just
oh
blink
yeah.
of an eye right back at
Oh, yeah.
Tanaka.
And it's like it's not one of those weak like Giancarlo like this was one of his power just line drive off the skull. I think the ball ended up in the outfield on the fly. That's how hard this ball got
Yeah, I
hit.
mean he rocketed that thing. I mean,
Oh yeah.
as soon as he hit it, he dropped
Oh
to his
yeah.
knees. It was bad. It looked.
It looked real bad.
Thankfully, it looked a lot worse than it was.
Yeah, because
It
he
wasn't
went to the
really.
hospital, came out the next day. I do believe he's pitched since then. I don't know if he's faced live batting yet. Um, but yeah, I mean that's a scary situation. And the Yankees this year was supposed to be the year they figured it all out. I mean they had Severino, they had Tanaka, they had Germán. They added Cole. You have guys like J.A. Happ in there. Although J.A. Happ is not good, do not mistake me for
Yeah,
that.
but now what?
They,
Three of those guys are likely,
well,
or
yeah,
may or may not,
because Severino
uh,
had Tommy John.
he's
So
out.
he's out for the season. Germán posted that cryptic thing over the weekend saying,
He was.
I'm done with baseball, And then he comes out and says he's not doing that. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's
It's hard to really put your faith into a guy who a week
yeah.
before the season's like, I don't know if I want to play anymore.
Yeah, no kidding. And
Uh,
I mean, I still think he's under suspension. I mean, I still think
oh yeah,
I think he's got 55 games or something like that to his suspension still. He would be eligible for the playoffs, but it's not like he's going to be, useful for the majority
he
of the
is
season.
most
Uh,
likely to be his second start if that's the case.
exactly. Second start would be the first round of the playoffs. And then you have
if they,
Tanaka, I don't know if he's on the IL, but if he goes on the IL, I mean, that's 3 starts. So, and I mean, you have Cole. J.A. Happ, the reason why they got J.A. Happ from Toronto was because he was very effective against the Red Sox. Well, now they've traded away Mookie Betts, they traded away David Price. They've lost. They lost Craig Kimbrell. The Red Sox aren't as dangerous as what they once was. It just is what it is. And so J.A. Happ, I mean, I think he can make a good like long reliever position. And the Yankees still got a good bullpen. I mean, they still got Chapman. To my knowledge, they still have Ottavino. They still have like Canley, Chad Green. They still got some fire coming out of that bullpen. But last year they proved it in the Astros series, uh, using the Kansas City 2015 strategy, where you just have 4 top end relievers, get the game to the 6th, and they'll take it from there. That doesn't work all the time. You can't
no,
use that against high caliber offenses. I mean, last year in that game 6, I mean, they got rocked. And then Chapman, who everyone is like, oh, he's going to save us and everything. LeMahieu hits that home run in the top of the ninth, ties the game. And then Chapman throws that slider that gets jacked onto the railroad tracks. Now, whether or not Altuve's seen it coming, we we can debate that another time. But regardless, I mean, Chapman threw it. So, they needed a starter. They got Garrett Cole, but the problem is Garrett Cole can't pitch 60 games. He can only pitch
no.
twice a week. And the Yankees, I mean, unless they're going to do that opener strategy, which they very may well. They very may well. They may throw Chad Green out there to start the game, get 6 outs, and then give the game to Happ. Might get 9, and then go from there. But I don't know. This was supposed to be the year they figured it out pitching wise. They're going to have to wait till 2021. It's the same deal whenever they brought Stanton in. Everyone was like, "Oh, him and Judge are just going to tear the league up." They haven't had not forget a full season. They haven't had a full month where they've been healthy together.
Yeah,
It's been a single calendar month since Giancarlo Stanton came to the Bronx where those 2 players have been healthy, and a opposing team's lineup has had to figure in both those guys for the entire series. It just has not happened yet. So, maybe this is the year they get the hitting figured out. Maybe they get all their pitching back next year. Maybe they add somebody in free agency. Maybe they get someone from their farm system. They got a fairly decent farm system, to my knowledge. I don't know. I think the Yankees with the short format affects everybody, right? I think the only team that's kind of foolproof from this format is the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers are the only team that's guaranteed a playoff spot just because they have so much talent up and down, both the pitching and the offensive side of that lineup, where if they lose one or two of those guys, they still have a six-pack of guys who could come out and bring it every night. And so, and they're playing in the NL West. They won that division by 15, 16 games last year. I forget. But I think they're guaranteed a spot. The Yankees now, they've been plagued by injuries the last couple of years. You know, if they have that stretch where they had last year where 20 guys are on the IL and the only guy that's healthy is Garrett Cole, well, Garrett Cole's a good pitcher, don't get me wrong, but unless he can't hit, they're doing a universal DH this year. You know what I mean? Like, the dude can't win it by himself. So I think the Yankees aren't foolproof in this year. I think you could see someone, especially with each league having 7 teams in the playoffs. I think you could see someone surprising. I think you could see the Marlins in the playoffs this year. It really depends. Whoever stays healthy the longest, I think that's going to be I really think you could see some surprises this year. I really do.
Yeah, it'll be a fun season. I think one thing we want to keep an eye on is just how teams attack it. Like if things get off to a slow start, do they kind of call it quits and start playing young guys and seeing how it works for them?
Sure.
And just, I mean, it's going to take a toll. Like everybody keeps saying, well, the winner of all these championships are going to have an asterisk. I don't know if that's true.
No,
I think it just shows how prepared they were despite everything going against them. So,
and it's like, really, if you think about it, how can you say these championships were tainted? The NBA, okay, I mean, they kind of restarted their season. They're going to have a traditional 16-game format. NHL and NBA, though, or NHL and MLB, they've added teams to their playoffs. So if anything, it's harder to get through those. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not like the NCAA tournament's easy just because you're playing who cares state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
it's not like only some of the teams dealt with it. Like every team in baseball missed spring training and had 4 exhibition games and then off for 3 months and then played 2 inter-squad scrimmages, a couple preseason, and then they're right in it. I mean, that's 8 or 9 scrimmages before you get into the real thing. And I mean, it's nobody's on the same page. I mean, teams were playing. I think it was the Twins I saw. When they reported their facility for the first time since they were back, they had guys doing long toss on the concourse. Some guys on the field, some guys in the clubhouse. I mean, they were trying to do everything they could to separate, and it hurts your chemistry, but it has to be done, I think. And it's interesting.
Yeah. And I also think whoever wins the championships in these respective leagues, that's going to determine whether or not we try to put an asterisk on it. If the NBA comes back here in a couple months and Kawhi Leonard's holding a championship in October, nobody's going to be like, oh, well, that was a fixed playoffs. I mean, that one doesn't count. You know what I mean? But if you have someone, say you have someone surprise. I mean, I think if the Lakers get it, there will be some flag just because of LeBron. But if you have someone who comes at like Philadelphia, for instance, if Philadelphia wins it, then you could be like, well, I mean, I don't know. If they would have played this in June, they would have been out when they faced Toronto like last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, and it's the same thing with every league. I mean, if you look at NHL, if a team like Toronto or Edmonton wins it, people are gonna be like, well, it was. I mean, we can't really count those because they were played in those cities. They didn't have to travel. They were at home essentially. Yeah. But if you have a team like Pittsburgh or if you have a team like Boston who wins it, then they're going to be like, oh, well, they were, some of the best teams anyway. I mean, that's fine,
Yeah.
And
it's just kind of, it's viewing it how you want to view it. It's all about perspective. And
exactly.
It's tough, but I think we got to give the credit to the athletes. I mean, they're the ones who've had to put everything on the shelf for 3 months and then come back right into the swing of things. So.
Exactly. And I'm not a big fan of putting asterisks on things anyway. A lot of people say, oh, Toronto's title against Golden State, asterisks. And it's like, no, not really, because, I mean, they ran the same gauntlet Golden State ran, except they stayed healthier longer. Sometimes that's what it comes down to.
Only asterisk that counts is the bitch-ass Astros.
And no kid, the asterisks, the Houston
Which, I don't know if you saw the other day, RIP that you're Donovan Ventura, but I said if there was one pitcher I could have face the Astros on opening day, it's him. Because that dude, man, that stretch of, I think it was like 2015 or so, maybe even before that, he didn't give a shit, dude. If you pissed him off, he was throwing 98 right at your rib cage.
Yeah.
And then he died a couple years after that. But man, that dude was good. He threw some heat, and he wasn't afraid to piss you off and get some shit started.
Yeah.
And I saw that. I mean, it was the Royals who had who hit like 4 guys the other day in their scrimmage against Houston. So
They
hope to
hit
see more of
Altuve
that.
and Springer back to back.
Yeah, they hit somebody with the bases loaded. Bro, you know you don't give a shit when that happens. But man, I hope it happens. It'll be interesting to see because they don't have the full season. If teams are going to be more reluctant to do that, given it could change one game, which could change a season. But I don't care. I want to see it.
I do too. But I think in terms of I was going to say in terms of our World Series picks earlier this year, I think we made our picks in terms of the wild cards, and then we also picked against our league champions and the world champion. I don't really want to get back into the wild cards just because I think that's, I don't know. I mean, eventually all the world champions are going to end up coming from that. But I think it's just so hard to predict who's going to be those 7 teams because it's hard to predict who's going to get corona. It's going to be hard to say which teams are going to be affected the most. It's going to be hard to deal with injury. The short season makes it hard to predict it. But in terms of the World Series, I feel pretty confident in saying I think this is the year the Dodgers get it done. I think this is the year the Dodgers end up winning the World Series just because they have so much talent on their roster that's ready to win now. Yeah. I mean, they knew over the offseason they kind of got gypped in 2017 and 2018, and then they went out and got David Price and Mookie Betts.
But David Price isn't playing.
Oh, is he out of this season?
He announced like a month ago he's not going to play.
Oh, I missed that. Okay. Yeah. But, they still have Mookie Betts.
But, yeah, they still have a pretty solid starting rotation. They still got, they've got plenty of pieces. It's not like it's going to hurt them a whole lot.
Granted, they lost Ryu. Ryu went to Toronto. I think Ryu was the best pitcher on that team.
Yeah. I think, it's weird because
but I think I went Yankees over Dodgers in our first predictions earlier this year. The Yankees, I'd like to see them make it back to the World Series. It's just going to be really tough. I think this is the year you see someone like a Tampa Bay make a deep run just because they've been doing that opener strategy for a couple years now. They have a lot of good pieces. They play a lot of small ball. This is the year small ball is going to be, is going to take precedent. With no fans in the stands, it's not like people are going to be on their feet wanting a home run. Nobody's going to give a shit whether or not you bunt or if you hit a 3-run homer just because there's nobody there. You know what I mean? And so I think you could see the Dodgers over the Tampa Bay Rays this year in the World Series. I think this is the year you see something like that happen.
Yeah. So I just looked at I was looking at the Dodgers starting rotation. Interesting strategy here. So they're giving Kershaw the ball tonight.
Yeah.
Walker Buehler is not starting this weekend.
Oh, really?
He is on the shelf until Tuesday for Game 1 against the Astros.
Oh, really?
They're saving so they're going to have him come out against the Astros Game 1 and then bring back Kershaw for Game 2 of that series. So.
And then who would they bring in for Game 3?
Right now they've got Stripling as the number 2.
Really? Ross Stripling, so, okay.
Yeah. And then they've got Wood and Urias as.
That's not a bad strategy, really.
No, it's smart. It'll save them. It'll be interesting to see how they devolve away from that at the end of the season because it would be tough to keep Buehler as your 5 all year and then get into the playoffs and then have to either come right back into it in Game 1 or 2.
Yeah, because there's no All-Star break this year.
No.
So you don't have that time in the summer to readjust your lineup. Do the Dodgers play tomorrow night? Because I know that opening day is most of the day tomorrow.
Let me see.
For most of the teams tomorrow, and I know usually if you play that first day, you have the next day off.
Let me see here. Yeah, they play tomorrow night.
Okay, because I was gonna say, if they had tomorrow off, I could see them throwing Buehler tonight. And then, he has that extra day of rest if he was off tomorrow. But if they play tomorrow night, you can't really do that.
Yeah. It's interesting. The Yankees have tomorrow night off.
Yankees and Nationals off tomorrow night?
Yeah, but then the Dodgers and Giants are off on Saturday.
Okay.
And then they come back for Game 3 on Sunday. Very odd. I don't like that, but.
And then what, are they off Monday as well? Dodgers, I mean.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So they're gonna have 2 off days in 3.
In the first like.
That's crazy.
Couple games season, but.
I mean usually
that might help them.
I was about to say, usually they do that like the first week of the season because you're staggering out that opening day for the teams. But
that helps them because I think that's going to help them get from Buehler becomes the 5, but he also serves as the fake 1. So he won't get the Game 1 start, but then Kershaw will be rested enough come the Houston series to be the official 2. I think Buehler he misses 1 start to start the year, but then he'll be the 1 the rest of the way. So that'll work out, I think, in their favor.
Yeah.
I never got to make my AL side pick.
Well, let's get back to that then.
I'll make it quick. Actually, I won't make it quick. I want hypothetical. Okay. What are the odds we get our first relief pitching Cy Young since 2003?
Now, that's a good point. That's a really good point. So we've been talking about the opener strategy. Do we count an opener as a reliever, even though they're starting the game technically?
I don't know. Because I mean, if a guy that would really stick out, I guess he's not with Tampa Bay anymore, but like Sergio Romo.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of.
He was always but he's now in. I think he's Minnesota's. I don't know if he's their closer or what, but I know he was traded to them last year. But that's a name to keep in mind.
Yeah.
If Aroldis Chapman's ready to go, I know he's already on the IL, but if he gets enough, if he comes in and just dominates, he's a guy to keep in mind.
Because, that's a good point, because if you think about it, if you look at the closer role, say everybody's doing this opener strategy and you're involved in a lot of tight 3-1, 4-3 games. Say a closer gets 25 saves this year, you know what I mean? 25 saves in a 60-game season? I think it would be hard to leave that kind of pitcher out of the Cy Young race, you know what I mean?
It's definitely something to keep in mind. I didn't really think about that until a little bit ago, but do you know who the last one was? The last closer?
Fuck, you said 03?
Yeah.
Was it AL or NL?
Hang on. I don't remember.
Man.
Hang on.
It's weird because I would have thought if you had a reliever win it, it would have been K-Rod back in, 07 or 08 when he had 62 saves for the Mets that year?
Yeah, it wasn't him.
It wasn't him. In 03.
The first one, so there's been 2 in the modern era. 92, there was Dennis Eckersley. And then 2003.
Was he still closing at that point?
Yeah. He was the first full-time closer.
Wow.
And then 2003 with the Dodgers.
Was that Eric Gagne?
Yeah. Eric Gagne's the last relief pitcher to win it. So
I think that was the year he went on. He set the record for saves, didn't he? Consecutive saves.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Because I think he didn't blow a single save that year because he had 84 straight.
Damn.
And if you throw 84 straight saves, I could see that being a Cy Young worthy.
Yeah, it was that year. He set 84 consecutive.
Yeah.
In 2003. He converted from starter to reliever in 2002.
Yeah.
Man, he was dominant. Him and who is that dude that pitched for the Dodgers and maybe the Giants with the beard?
Oh, shit.
Wilson, I thought.
Brian Wilson?
Maybe.
I think it's Brian Wilson.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
That dude was like the name in baseball for a while. I don't know why. Because he was never... he was good for like a stretch, but I never thought he was like all that dominant.
Well, I think he was on those world champion Giant teams, if
Yeah.
I recall correctly.
Those teams are solid. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think I want to go dark horse again just because I'm feeling it today. I'm
Dark
down to
horse.
two guys
Okay.
for the AL Cy Young. One of them's Corey Kluber with the Rangers.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
their
yeah.
new ace. I think they can shock people because they have enough power in their lineup where they can make
And
some noise.
and it's the same thing with the AL Central. I mean, you're playing teams that just aren't as talented as these other divisions.
Yeah, and then the other one is in the AL Central with the Indians.
Okay, Trevor Bauer.
He's with the Reds still.
Oh my!
Uh,
Wow.
and it's not Shane Bieber. I'm gonna roll with Trevor Bauer's buddy, Mike Clevenger.
Okay. Okay.
I think he's kind of emerged as one of the best flamethrowers out of the gate. I think he's
Sure.
a name that people will start to know. I think this is the year he kind of breaks out. So he's going to be able to use his arm a lot more effectively. I think I'm curious to see how guys who throw hard, how they progress throughout the season, because they don't have to worry about the long, like, oh, I don't want to throw heat all day, every day, early in the season because I don't want to fall off into the year. Now you can kind of afford to do it more because your postseason hits you a lot sooner, so your arm's going to still be kind of fresh and ready to go. I think you can kind of take it. So I think if he's gunning for that Cy Young late in the year, I think the AL Central's pretty, dare I say, dog shit. So, I mean, he can run through the Royals and the who's the other one in that division? Royals suck. The Tigers.
Yeah.
He'll run through the Royals and the Tigers if he gets them. Twins will be tough, but I think he can manage. I don't think the Twins lineup scares me because I feel like it's boom or bust.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's in a season like this, you can't afford to bust a whole hell of a lot. So,
and like I said, I think if you have 11 starts, I mean, we had years where going into the All-Star break, you had guys like Ubaldo Jimenez going to the All-Star game 13-1.
yeah,
See the best pitcher in the league at that point. Probably not. Was he the hottest pitcher at that point? Certainly. It was like last year at this time, Domingo Germán, he was leading the league in wins. And
yeah.
was he the best pitcher in the league? No, he was not. But he got the right starts at the right times, and he put up more wins than anybody else.
Yeah, I mean that's the case with Kyle Hendricks a few years ago, and I don't know, did he win Cy Young?
No, I don't want to say he did. I think DeGrom won it that one year.
I think he did. Hang on, I can't remember.
But you're thinking of like 2018, aren't you?
No, it was the.
Was it the World Series year?
It might have been World Series year. So no, he didn't win it. Arrieta won it in 15. Maybe it's Arrieta's year I'm thinking of, where he had like a .8 in the second half of the season. But I mean, Kyle Hendricks, he took over. He's now the Cubs ace, but 2016, 2017, he was their number 4 starter, and he's getting he's getting the back end of series and stuff, and he's kind of flying under the radar. He's throwing like a 1.2 ERA second half of the season. I mean, he's getting very lucky with where he's sitting on the mound, but you can kind of luck like that.
I think with Germán, he got lucky because he got a lot of run support in his games. I don't think his ERA was that impressive. I think he had a 3-something ERA last year. And so, I mean, that's not Cy Young worthy of 3-something. I mean, usually your Cy Young, like DeGrom, for instance, he was at a 2-something ERA. Or, the year that Felix Hernandez won with a losing record, his ERA was, I want to say his was maybe sub-2 or in the low 2s.
Yeah, Felix Hernandez might go down as the most unlucky pitcher in baseball history.
Maybe.
People don't know how good this dude was in his prime.
Yeah.
I mean, he was dominant, and his team was ass. I mean,
they didn't call him king for no reason. He was
bad,
great,
dude.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he was the only reason they were even close to competitive.
Oh yeah, go find another pitcher who won a Cy Young with a 9-13 record. You can't. But I think this year's going to be we're going to see some surprises. I think the AL Central is where we're going to see a lot of postseason awards be handed out. I just don't see that many AL Central teams winning playoff spots. I think obviously you have the division winners,
Ooh, I want to throw in a name. Dark horse MVP candidate Tim Anderson.
Chicago.
He's gonna hit for high contact. He's gonna get on base. I think. I mean, he hit like what 338 last year or something like that. I mean, if he pulls that off again this year, and the White Sox have a very powerful lineup, very similar to the Twins, just not as deep, I don't think.
Sure.
Man, if he carries them to a playoff spot and he hits, 340, 350 with, I don't know, say 12, 13 home runs and
also keep in mind he hit like 338 in a season where they played 162 games.
Yeah, I mean, he was dominant last year on the base.
Say he goes on a 2-month hot stretch and approaches 400.
Yeah.
You're telling me a 400 batter ain't the MVP? I don't know about that.
He's one of those sneaky guys who can. I mean, he's very good defensively. His name's gotten out there quite a bit. I know he had that incident, I think 2 years ago with the Royals where he got into it because he taunted a home run, which I got to say, man, I don't pick sides, right? If you hit a home run and you taunt the pitcher and that pitcher hits you, you're both in the right. I don't give a shit. Sure. You can taunt and then you can get hit. It's just the unwritten rule of baseball. People who get their they get so butthurt when you're like, oh, you're just jealous because he hit the ball if you don't want him to hit a homer. No, fine, hit the homer. Just taunt on me. Just know you're getting hit next time.
Sure.
And then boom, all is well in the universe. I mean, it happened.
Yeah, but, I mean that's how you stop the taunting. If you fear a 98-mile-an-hour fastball to the ribs, you probably won't throw the bat up in the air as hard next time. So I get it.
Makes baseball fun. I love it. So I'm all for it. Let it happen. Unless it's the Astros. Astros, you taunt, you're getting. I don't care. I'm putting Chapman in. You're getting 104 to the face. So.
I saw a meme while in the period of time where we haven't done the podcast. I saw a meme where it was like whenever George Springer, who is the Astros leadoff hitter, when Springer walks into the plate and he sees Chapman, or like he steps up to the plate in the first and he sees Chapman warming up with someone.
He's like kicking the dirt and he's like, "Oh shit."
It was pretty funny, but
you know how funny it would be if the Yankees went out there and
they put Chapman in to start.
Like they come out opening or like that series and they just say like. Shit, how would they? Like, there's like, oh, but yeah, we got Chapman on the mound tonight, and then it's like the Astros are panicking. They change their lineup and throw somebody like they just throw some random kid out there at the number one, and then like right before the game starts, like, oh, we had to scratch Chapman because of he had oblique tightness or something tonight. He can't go. They got the Astros out there shitting their pants. They're like, oh man, I would die laughing to be honest. That's even better than hitting the dude.
Unfortunately, I don't think the Yankees can play. Or actually, they won't be able to play them until the playoffs. But could you imagine Game 1 of the series? It's like,
get to the ALCS and you're just like, all right, bitch, we're ready.
We're gonna get this out of the way.
Or like, you've got your pitcher out there warming up, and then the dude's out there. Everybody's getting ready to step into the batter's box, and you look over and you got two guys warming up in the bullpen. And they're like, oh shit, we know what's coming. But they're prepared for something.
I think a dark horse World Series to look out for is the Reds versus the Astros. Could you imagine that? Trevor Bauer. Ooh,
that would be fun.
That would be a hell of a lot of fun. But I think this year, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a pitcher won the MVP this year. Just because if you have a bunch of guys that are kind of not standing out from one another, I mean, if you have a bunch of guys batting 300 that are around 15 homers, say they've got 10 stolen bases or whatever, you have a bunch of guys like that, it's hard to differentiate. But if you have a guy who's 10-1 with a 1.2 ERA and a sub-1 whip, well, damn, you know what I mean?
It'd be hard to
be hard against them. Exactly. Now, I don't think a relief pitcher would end up winning the MVP unless they put up something like 40 saves, which just isn't going to happen. But I don't know. I think this year's gonna be fun. So
I'm excited. I'm ready for tonight. So you said you have the Dodgers as your World Series champ?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Dodgers over Rays. I just think that this year's small ball is gonna be important, and I think Tampa Bay is the best when it comes to playing small ball. The Yankees, they've faltered too many times in these big situations where they've relied on the long ball. And come October, especially in a shortened season, I mean, I just don't think you can rely on the home run, and they've just done it way too much. And I think they've had so much trouble staying healthy in previous years. I just don't know if they'll be able to stay healthy over the course of 60. If it was 162, I would feel more confident just because you could spread those injuries out over the course of the year. But if you have a lot of these injuries in a compact period of time, I just think that you're going to lose too many games as a result. But on the flip side of that, the Dodgers just have so much talent where if they lose one, two, or even three guys, I think they have still enough talent where they can compete with every team they're going to play.
Yeah.
And so I think I don't know. I mean, it's something to keep an eye on. It's something to look out for. I'm going to go Dodgers over Rays. And hopefully we get a World Series this year. With everything going on, who's to say 30 days from now we don't have another stop to the sports world, which would be hard.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
shit. The NHL just announced their new team.
Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle Kraken.
Really?
Yeah.
How about that? Breaking news here, folks.
Yeah, I guess they announced about a half hour ago. And the Washington football team, they haven't found their name. So effective immediately, according to Adam Schefter, they will be going by the Washington football team until they find a new name.
Wow.
Interesting. But, yeah.
Seattle Kraken. And it's interesting, talking NHL here for a couple minutes. Whenever the Golden Knights, whenever Vegas came into the league a few years ago, they had that expansion draft. And the same year they had the expansion draft, they went to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think Seattle's they have a chance to do something similar. I just think there's a lot of talent out there they can pull from. The expansion draft works a little differently than what I believe it does in most other leagues. Of course, we haven't had to see one in other leagues just because it's been a long time since the other team or the other leagues expanded.
Yeah.
You've had teams relocate. But MLB, NFL, NBA. I think the last NBA team to come in was maybe Charlotte, maybe. I don't know. Toronto was the mid '90s, but I don't think they were the last one.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
Baseball, the last time there was any change in teams was back in 2005 when Montreal moved to Washington.
Yeah, and let's see, who was the last expansion before that? Was it the Marlins?
Was it Miami? But they were the Florida Marlins at that point, and they won a World
because
Series.
it was weird because there was like the mid to late '90s. The NFL had two new teams. They brought in Carolina and Jacksonville. And then I believe the Marlins came to MLB, and it was like this weird wave of turquoise. Everybody was like, "Oh, we got a new team, got to have turquoise in it," and it was just very.
And you see, and it's interesting you say that because '98 was the last MLB expansion, and that was the Diamondbacks, and so they had the turquoise, and the Tampa Bay Rays.
Oh
and
yeah.
So.
The last NFL would have been Houston in 2003, maybe.
Now, didn't they? Was it Houston? I thought Houston just rebranded. I thought they went from the Oilers to the Oilers went to Tennessee.
The Titans are the Oilers.
Yeah, and then okay, that makes sense. Because Arizona, 4 years after they came into the league in '98, they won the World Series in 2001. Yeah. So
quick turnaround.
And you MLS a few years ago, Atlanta, their second year they won an MLS Cup.
Yeah.
The Texans, they were the last expansion team in 2002. NHL has expanded quite a bit here in latest years, I want to say. But I don't know. I'm excited. I think it'll even out that league because they have 31 teams. That'll be the 32nd. They'll go into the I want to say they'll go into the Central Division, the division where the Blues play. Trying to think of the other teams in that division. I want to say the Blackhawks are in that division as well. Maybe the Jets. And so they'll see. Well, maybe they'll go into the Pacific. I don't know, but I want to say the Pacific's already full, or maybe they'll realign those conferences.
Yeah, I know the NFL
Or
had to realign
yeah,
when Houston joined, so
yeah.
it's
Because
interesting. But
yeah, because if you look at the Pacific, I think you have L.A., L.A., the Kings, the Sharks, the Canucks, um, the Coyotes. Uh, is there a team in Denver? Yeah, the Avalanche is out there. I want to say maybe Edmonton's in that division. Maybe you can move Edmonton to the Central. Maybe Calgary. But that rivalry, you probably want to keep those two in the same division. I don't know, but yeah, they'll probably they'll have to figure that out. You'd have to move someone from the Pacific over just because Seattle. They're on the Pacific, so
it's hard to put them in like they are literally the Pacific Northwest. So.
Exactly. So if you're gonna have the Canucks, who's 40 miles or 2 hours away, So yeah, that's pretty exciting. They could be competing for a title here real soon. Vegas, they have a bye into the playoffs. They're part of the round robin that's coming up here. They'll be with the Blues, the Avalanche, and damn it, who is the other team? Blues, Knights, Avalanche. I forget that fourth team that's in that round robin, but I don't know. It's pretty exciting stuff. That starts up next Saturday, I believe. That's Series 1, and next week, if we do another show, which we probably will, I'll go more into my hockey picks. But I think we're going to see something really exciting out of the qualifiers.
Yeah.
If you guys are going to watch, if we don't do this show next week, something to keep an eye on. Next Saturday night is the beginning of the Pittsburgh-Montreal series. Montreal is the 12 seed. They have more losses than what they do wins this year, and they're in the playoffs. I think they take that series from Pittsburgh.
All right.
Their goalie, Carey Price, Pittsburgh petitioned the NHL to make the Stanley Cup qualifiers a best of 5 as compared to a best of 3 because of Carey Price. He is the best goaltender in the league. The players believe he is. They have voted him the best goaltender in the league. He's been off for 3.5 months. Usually, he falters later in the season just because he plays every game, which you don't see from many goalies. He plays much more than what your regular goalies do. Granted, he gives up more goals, probably due to fatigue, so he's not in the conversation for the Vezina, which is the best goalie award. But it only takes 3 games. I think he could go on a 3-game run, shut down Crosby, shut down some of the other studs on that team, and I think you can see Montreal playing whoever comes out of that 1 seed in the round robin. So I think that's the best series to watch. Obviously, I'm going to be watching Toronto and Columbus starting next Sunday. But if you guys are looking for a fun series to watch, 5 versus 12, Pittsburgh, Montreal, that's the one to watch.
It's a classic NCAA tournament upset, 5 over or 12 over 5.
Exactly, and also something to keep in mind: with the 8 losers from the qualifiers, one of those teams is going to win the Alexis Lafreniere lottery or the sweepstakes, because during the draft lottery, a team to be named won the number 1 seed, and all 8 teams are going to have an equal 12.5% chance to win it. So, I wouldn't say throw this year, but that kid is good. That kid's going to be good for a long time. So
yeah. Let's see. I'm going to throw out my World Series real quick. Just jump back to baseball. We're all over the place, but who cares? We're coming back from a hiatus. So to keep it a little bit different, I do also agree it's probably going to be the Dodgers. But I'll throw out a different one. I'm going to take the Braves over the Indians in the World Series this year.
Really?
I think the Indians have enough of a pitching staff to compete in the AL. I think they've got 2 high-end starters in Bieber and Clevenger. They've got enough pop in their bats. I think Francisco Lindor is another guy to keep an eye on for the MVP race. a do-it-all. I mean, he's a good defender, hit for high contact, but has an ability to kind of hit for power. Um, I don't know. They got a pretty easy road through the AL NL Central, so Indians are going to keep an eye on. Of course, the Yankees are up there if they stay healthy.
Yep.
Red Sox are
Big
kind of
if.
low. Rangers have a decent pitching staff, and they've got they traded Mazzara, but they've still got Joe Gallo. I think they still have Elvis Andrews and Rougned Odor, so their infield's fine. They can maybe make some noise. Mike Trout might be able to take the Angels by himself if he needs to. So the AL is very wide open for me. I think the NL is much more concise of it being down to probably 3 or 4 teams at this point. But the AL, I could see realistically, I could see 2 teams from any division making a run. So,
Sure.
I mean, if you look, Indians, White Sox, Twins, they all have a shot to be
Sure.
sneaky.
Sure.
The Angels, the A's, even they've got enough pieces where they've got
Sure.
Olsen, Chapman, and Laureano, and
Mark
their pitching
Semien.
staff, and Semien, yeah, and oh man, who is there? They have a utility guy. I know his brother plays for the Curacao Little League team. That's all I can think of right now. But they've got a good bullpen.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they can make noise. I mean, it's going to be interesting. But I want to throw out a question here. Who is your biggest dark horse playoff team?
To make the playoffs, or once they get in the playoffs, can make a deep run?
Just to sneak into the playoffs, and then I guess maybe make a run if things go the right way.
Biggest dark horse. The first team that comes to my mind is Miami. I think Miami. I think because they put up a good or a decent spring training. They got a winning record. If they can stay healthy, I think they could squeak out 30. Because how many games realistically do you think it's going to take to make a playoff spot? I think maybe 35 games.
Well, they still doing. What's the playoff format? Are they doing 7-7?
7-7, yeah.
And are they doing high seed? Are they still doing the high seed picks?
I'm not entirely sure on that. But
I don't know if they. I don't even know if they voted on that yet. Which it's opening day. They might want to figure that shit out. But hey, Manfred, do your job.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, I think I want to say, man, I see 37 games leading the league in wins this year. Just because I don't think you're going to see a team get super hot and go 43-7.
It is crazy to think that the gap between a playoff, like the number 1 spot, and then a missing playoffs could be 37 and then like 31 wins.
Oh yeah,
6 games make up the entire playoff bracket. But
oh yeah,
I mean, I don't know. It's going to be like Miami's a good choice because they've got they have Jonathan Villar, I believe, right?
Uh-huh.
And they've got Castro, and I want to say they have Bauer maybe at first base. Like they've got
pieces,
good pieces, and their starting pitching staff throws heat. Cause I know they've got Sandy Alcantara is their number 1, and they've got Sixto Sanchez, I believe, is up there in their lineup. But
yeah,
and it's like in the NL East, man.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I think
defending champs. Braves have young rotation with a bunch of young bats.
Yeah.
And then they might be getting Puig if Puig can get cleared before 2 months. I know he just tested positive. Phillies still have plenty of pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Mets have an elite rotation. I mean, that NL East is going to be...
It's stacked.
That's probably going to be the most baseball I watch. I might watch that more than I watch the Cubs, to be honest. And I'll watch the Cubs every day. So.
Yeah, I mean, the NL East is definitely exciting. Yeah, I just think... I think the Marlins, if they can just hit the pieces right and they can just, I think they could squeak out a playoff spot. If I'm going non-Marlins, Toronto. If I'm going non-Marlins, I think Toronto could maybe, and I don't think Toronto's winning the division. I don't think they're going to make a super deep run in the playoffs. But do I think they could sneak a playoff spot in? Maybe. Because I think at this point, I think they may be playing with the least amount of pressure of anyone in the league.
Yeah.
Just because they don't have a home field right now and it's opening day. It's like, I think expectations are kind of low for Toronto just because they are young. They do have kind of the most unfortunate of circumstances having to play in someone else's ballpark. or potentially going on the road every game and just being the home team in a visiting team stadium. So I think, they may have the least expectations, but they have pieces to where if they get hot, they could sneak out 30 wins. You know what I mean? Thirty,
Yeah.
31 wins. And so I would say Miami or Toronto. I like San Diego, but I don't really think they're a dark horse pick. I think a lot of people are expecting them to, especially with the expanded
Who?
playoff field, maybe sneak into a playoff spot.
I'm trying to think who the Padres have in their rotation because I know they have Paddock, and Paddock's a huge guy.
Yeah,
I mean, he
yeah.
has
He's
potential to
he's
take over the league, and
he's going tomorrow
they've
night.
got a solid. Yeah, I mean they've got Paddock, Lamet, Garrett Richards is not. I mean Garrett Richards is not a slum three. Zach Davies came over this year from Milwaukee. He moves quick. He pisses me off because he's one pitch after that. I mean, he just doesn't let down. And they've got, was it Lucchesi or Lucchesi?
I'm not
He's their
entirely
number
sure.
5. He's their only lefty, but I mean, they've got Kirby Yates as their closer, Pomeranz, Strom. They're tough, man.
And
San
really,
Diego's tough, and they rebranded their jerseys, so that might be
yeah.
the last thing
And
they need. So.
and also keep in mind they play in San Diego right there off the ocean. The stadium. I've been to San Diego. If you get a chance, go there. But the stadium is literally, you could maybe shoot a T-shirt out of a cannon and hit the ocean from where that stadium is, and that it's right off the ocean. So you're gonna have that heavy air coming in. You have that power line up there in Los Angeles. That's gonna kill some of those fly balls out there in the outfield. And really, if you think about it, you only have 8 games against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
If you want a playoff spot, not trying to win the division, but if you want a playoff spot, you might only need to win 3 of those games. You might only need to go 3-5 against the Dodgers to consider that a success in terms of trying to
Yeah.
secure a playoff spot. You know what I mean? Now, if you go 3-5 against the Diamondbacks, or if you go 3-5 against the Rockies, well, then yeah, maybe you'd be a little bit more disappointed with yourselves. But you don't have to go 6-2 against the best team in your division to clinch a playoff spot. Especially when, like you just said, the difference between the number 1 seed and watching the playoffs at home could be 6 games. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Man, it's gonna be so weird. I'm ready though. If you would have asked me 3 days ago how I feel about baseball, I'd be like, who gives a shit? But I mean, coming back now, yeah, dude, I'm kind of excited.
yeah, yeah,
I guess in my AL dark horse, I'd probably just have to. I mean, I don't know if there really is one, because I think everybody who can make it should make it. Or everybody who's a candidate, I think is like, I don't think there's like a gap between should make it and shouldn't make it. I think
sure.
it's pretty clear. But I'm gonna go. I think the A's are probably the most, I guess, the dark horse team for me. But in the NL, man, the Rockies are enticing. Granted, they've got a tough road to get there, but I mean, their starting rotation's not great. But looking at their depth chart on their team site right now, they've got a 7-man rotation right now. And they've got Oberg and Wade Davis in their bullpen. And then they've got plenty of bats. I mean, Daniel Murphy, he's no slouch at first base. He's gonna get on base. Their infield in general is insane. They've got Hampson, Arenado, Trevor Story, Brendan Rodgers. And then they've got Tapia and Charlie Blackmon still out. So they've got enough guys who can actually. I don't think they have a lot of pop in their bats. They've got enough guys who can get on base.
Sure.
Now, I don't know if that's going to play to their favor playing in that ballpark, and that's going to be one thing to keep in mind. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the Rockies have. It's going to be tough. And that NL West is another one that's. Everybody outside of the Dodgers, I think everybody's going to beat everybody. So I think who's going to be able to stand out among the other 4, and that's going to be one of the wild card spots. But who knows? It's tough. I mean, the Padres, the Rockies, the Giants don't have it. I mean, they don't have Buster Posey either. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man.
yeah. So First pitch tonight is at 7:08 Eastern, 6:08 Central.
Yeah, what's your prediction for that game?
Dude, I think the Nationals win it, but I don't know if it's going to be anything. I think it'll be like 4-2.
Okay.
Probably a couple late runs. Maybe.
Okay.
I think it'll be 2-2, 2-1 heading into the seventh, and then get a run, seventh, eighth inning, and then close it out.
All right.
I don't think Cole gets absolutely demolished out there, but I think he probably gets no decision.
Okay, I can see that. Who do you think wins the late game?
Dodgers is not even close.
That's true.
If this was 2011, I'm probably picking Cueto to win opening day. But newsflash, it's 2020, and that dude is not going toe to toe with Kershaw and the Dodgers lineup on opening night. So,
oh goodness.
I honestly, I didn't know Johnny Cueto was still in the league. So, I mean, how old is this dude? He's been pitching forever.
36, maybe.
34. Damn, that's young for me. I thought this dude was like 39. I feel like I remember this dude pitching for the Reds like ever since I was a kid.
That's funny, man.
But let's see, what other matchups are there tomorrow? Oh, we get right into it, baby. Let's go. Braves Mets tomorrow, 4:00. Game of the weekend right there. A lot of interleague play already.
Also, before we get off here, something I got to talk about. I just saw this. Mike Tyson is back.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. He's fighting, Roy Jones?
Roy Jones Jr., 8-round exhibition, September 12th. We got to stop everything. This is it now. Is this pay-per-view? What are we doing?
I have no idea.
This is great. Mike Tyson being back, baseball being back. 2020's back, baby. Let's go.
I like it. Oh, shit.
Let's go. Although I can see Roy Jones Jr. knocking that guy out pretty early. But I'm excited. Let's go.
Yeah. Man. It's been a hectic year, man. I haven't even been... Well, I'm assuming you've been watching UFC, right?
Yeah, I have. There's been plenty... This year's been a great year for fights. I think...
I wasn't crazy about last week. I can't remember... Not the Masvidal night, but the Wednesday night one.
Oh,
following Masvidal. Yeah, that one didn't really do anything for me, but I watched Masvidal.
I mean, Saturday night, the flyweight title fight between Davison Figueiredo and Joseph. I mean, that was a run back from the fight back in February. That fight was bad, dude. Joe B. I mean, you fight for a title 4 times in your career, and you go 0-4. What are you, Jim Kelly? Like that's just bad, dude. Like that.
Yeah.
Wow. He got choked out. I think that's probably going to be his last chance at a title. Going back to the Masvidal night, granted we haven't talked about it. There's something that's happened since we've last done a podcast that really pisses me off, and it has to be changed. The late stoppages have to stop. Everyone wants to bitch when there's an early stoppage. 100 times out of 100, I want an early stoppage compared to a late stoppage, because the Jose Aldo Peter Yan fight, they took over a year off of Aldo's life in that 5th round. I could see him letting him go out for the 5th because he's 34. He's lost his last 3 title fights. This is probably his last chance at a UFC gold. But a minute into the ground, when freaking Peter Yan's treating his head like a set of bongos, just boom, 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 and you let that go on for 2 minutes. The total punch differential on that round was 75-1. You took years off that guy's life in the 5th.
I remember that was one of the fights I was watching. I pay-per-viewed it, and
it just that pissed me off, man.
I was texting. I think that was the one I was texting you about. Like,
It was a decent fight up until then, but then I think it was like round 3, it started turning really, really bad and not in Aldo's favor, and then it just kept getting worse and worse. I mean, he was getting bad.
It was bad. It was really bad. And they had to stop that shit. I mean, months ago, Anthony Smith versus was it Glover Teixeira? They forget just a year. They took maybe 5 years off of Smith. That's not a fucking joke either. Because I thought that fight could have been stopped in the 3rd. And then he goes back to his corner and he says his teeth are falling out. And the corner's like, "Hey, keep the guard up, bud." Like,
yeah, they're like, "Hey, do you feel okay?" And like shining the light, like, "Hey, you don't got a concussion. You're good. Get out there, pussy." It's like, no, dude, he's gonna die.
All right, so the corner and the ref, they have one job, right? The corner is there to protect the fighter. You don't stop the fight when the fighter can no longer continue. You stop the fight when your fighter can no longer win, okay? The ref, you're there to protect the fighter, okay? These guys they could literally die in this sport. I mean, granted, it doesn't happen in mixed martial arts nearly as much as it does in boxing. Boxing is far more dangerous, but you're there to protect the goddamn fighter. Don't let the guy go out there and fall on a shield. This ain't 1913 when Jack Willard killed the guy in the 11th. This ain't this ain't Independence Day when Jack Dempsey beats Jack Dempsey to a fucking pulp in Toledo. This ain't the motto that the champion has to go out on his back, or let me fall on my shield, or don't make it to where I can't get up. Stop that shit. We have 100+ years of what repeated traumatic brain injuries does to a person, and it ends up in shorter lifespans. Okay, stop the late stoppages.
And they gotta stop letting the fighter pick. Like if they're like, "Oh, you want to go back out there?" He doesn't know what he's saying. I don't think. I'm good. No, dude, you're not good. I just watched you lay on your back and get your shit kicked in for 5 minutes.
I mean, a few months ago, the UFC 249. That was the card that, or was it 250? No. It was the Gaethje versus Ferguson card. The co-main event, Henry Cejudo, Dominic Cruz. Cruz gets dropped. That dude was on Dream Street after a right uppercut, and I mean, he just sits there and he gets rocked. And then they end up calling it, but he ate 12 unprotected shots, and he's pissed off saying, "Oh, that was an early stoppage." It's like, you didn't defend any of those 12 shots, but it's like, and then and a few weeks ago, there was a kid who was like the curtain jerker for the prelims, and dude got 10-8'd in the 2nd round. I think the dude went out there and won the first, but he went out there and he lost the second bad. And he goes back to his stool and he tells his coach, call it. And the coach is like, no, you go back. And the guys he said, call it 10 times.
Yeah.
60 seconds in between the fight. Dude did not want to go back out there. When the fighter tells you he doesn't want to go back out there, don't send him back out there to get killed. Don't take years off his life. Because he's already out of it. He's already lost in his mind.
Yeah, he's already lost the fight to begin with, and then to put it in mentally, he's lost the fight, and physically, he's lost the fight. Yeah. Like, there's no gain of putting him back out there.
No. And thankfully, the inspector for Nevada said, "Hey, we're going to call this. He doesn't want in," and thankfully. But the thing is, these guys get paid show and win money, right? So say these guys are getting paid $40,000 to show, $40,000 to win. Well, the coaches are getting X% of whatever their fighter makes. Okay, so the win bonus, the corner gets a percentage of that, and the corner knows that. So it's like, hey, I think you can win. You're a champion, dude. You're gonna regret this for the rest. It's like, you might make a couple thousand on the back end. But that guy lost a couple years of his life trying to get you those couple thousand. You know what I mean? It's the Anthony Smith deal where he was like, "Oh, I have an agreement with my corner saying that they won't ever stop the fight." That's bullshit. They're there to protect you.
Yeah.
It's like earlier this year we did a podcast. We covered the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight. Wilder got up in arms. I think he fired Mark Breland because he stopped the fight in the 7th. Dude threw the damn talent. He lost every round of that fight. Dude got knocked down twice. He's sitting in the corner just getting just boom, 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 boom. You've lost.
Yeah.
It's a 12-round fight. You lose the first 7, and you got knocked down twice. You aren't going to win the fight. And so, yeah, I'm just and still, I mean, people complained about that one too, saying, "Well, he's the heavyweight champion of the world." Stop that. I don't give a damn if you are a ham and egg or tomato can bottom of the card guy, or if you're the heavyweight champion of the world. If you're getting your shit rocked, there's no need for you to sit out there and take repeated brain damage for what? You know what I mean? For what? It just pisses.
Yeah, it's.
You know?
Man, I don't know. I mean, it's a tough job too for a fighter to like. I'm sure it's not easy to be like, yeah, hey, this dude's kicking my ass. I want to quit, but it's the right call. Like,
no, it definitely is.
You've got to understand that it. Same reason we see a lot of NFL players retiring early. Like, it's just not worth it to go an extra 3 minutes of a guy just beating the shit out of you before they call the fight themselves.
Yeah.
What do you gain out of that?
Yeah. Because it only takes one. It only takes one good shot to change your life forever, bud. And in that fight, in that 5th round Aldo had a few weeks ago, he may have taken 30, 40 of those punches. If he's stuttering when he's 50 years old, he can watch that 5th round and point to, yep, that's where it happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a few months ago, UFC, we covered the Gaethje versus Ferguson fight. You know, we had talked about, that was a great performance by Gaethje. Ferguson got his shit rocked every round. I thought he lost every round of that fight. I thought Gaethje went out there, fought a perfect game plan. But the reason why they didn't call that is because Ferguson was at least fighting back. The dude was landing a couple shots. He rocked Gaethje at the end of the 2nd. But then it's like at the end of the 5th, when he gets rocked and he does that thing where he shakes his head, it's like at that point he's out. Like he's trying to get his wits about him, and Gaethje's just sitting there firing pistons at him. You know what I mean? The late stoppage, all you guys out there, all you goddamn casuals saying, yeah, I mean, that was an early stoppage or stop that. I would much rather a guy be saved the damage than have it.
Yeah,
it pisses me off. It pisses me off.
But yeah, it's. I don't know, man. It's tough to watch a dude get just absolutely obliterated when there's no chance he's making it back.
None.
Like even like I'm not the most like in tune with UFC. Like I just like to watch it. But like, dude, if I'm watching a fight and I see a dude's like not gonna make it out, I'm like, I'll text you or I'm like, dude, they gotta call this shit.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Like this dude doesn't stand a chance, let alone 3 more rounds of this. Like,
yeah, and
it's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. If you're a ref or you're a corner man and you're just gonna let a guy sit out there and die, don't get in the sport. Like that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. But I don't know.
But, yeah, I mean, damn, we went an hour and a half.
I was about to say that was a pretty short hour and a half too, wasn't
it? Yeah. Try to get this out before opening day. We got 6 hours or so before first pitch.
Yeah.
Little under 6 hours. So
yeah,
we're ready. We've got good baseball tonight. I don't know. Dodgers Giants is a weird choice for opening night, but I'll take what I can get at this point. Got a bunch of other teams kicking off tomorrow. We've got Braves Mets tomorrow is going to be a good one. Blue Jays Rays might be a good game. Cubs Brewers is tomorrow. That basically does it. All the other ones are, Red Sox, Orioles, don't really care about that. Indians, Royals, going to be a shit show. Phillies, Marlins, probably not going to look great. But, yeah, getting back into the swing of things. We've got 60 games of baseball ready for us. And
yes, sir.
There's, basketball will be back on all day today. Soccer, Premier League final match day is on Sunday. So if I don't know, I'll just end it with this real quick. So Premier League, the way it works in Europe. So if you finish in the top 4 of your league, you go to the Champions League, which is like, it's almost like a playoff in American sports, to where there's a champion at the end of that. So you have to get top 4 in your league to clinch a spot. Right now in England, there's 3 teams competing for the final 2 spots.
Yeah.
They do a point system like hockey. Chelsea's at 63. Leicester City is at 62, and Manchester United is at 62. Manchester plays Leicester at 11 o'clock Sunday morning, so it's basically winner gets the last spot. It'll be a good game. Hopefully, that'll be one. I'm a United fan, so I'll be watching that one. They'll choke it. Don't worry. I've had no luck in my entire life with sports. So, outside of the 2016 run from the Cubs, I have had nothing. So, that's the only championship I've ever witnessed. So.
I've had 3 championships for my teams. Well, more than that. In the last 15 years, I've had 3 championships for my teams, and one of them got taken away. So sad.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. I mean, one of these years I'll learn, but not anytime soon.
But most of my championships came when I was like kindergarten, so I was like, well, great.
Doesn't mean shit. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, today's Thursday. You know what that means?
What's that?
NFL training camp's kicking off.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, rookies report today. Veterans will report, I believe, Tuesday. And
there we go.
So they're expected to get back into things. So, holy shit! Within the span of 3 days, we got basketball, baseball, and football all back. So
yeah,
we're ready. I finally got stuff I can write about.
Yeah.
And we're excited. We'll try to come back next week with some. Hopefully, things go smoothly this week with the experimental stuff. We can talk a little bit about how opening weekend of baseball went. Cubs will be undefeated, whatever. Yankees will probably be 0-6 by the time we get back to you. Garrett Cole be 0-2 with like a 7.6 ERA. Juan Soto is going to just dick smack a couple off of them tonight. I'm excited, man. All of my Juan Soto shirt.
Oh, gosh. Well, I guess we'll see, huh?
Yeah. And then, so if you guys have questions or anything you'd like us to cover next week, just let us know. You can comment here. You can, on YouTube, not here. You can't access the actual pod itself, but comment on YouTube. Mention me on Twitter. DM me on Twitter. Yeah, it's really about it.
Yeah.
Unless you got anything else.
No, I mean, you can follow me on Twitter at Keanan Allstott. If you guys want to have a little bit of fun, we did start a Around the Leagues podcast, our fantasy football league. You can go follow that at fantasy _SCH, I think.
So yeah.
Some pretty good commentary there. Your boy gonna be the champion this year, so there. Spoiler alert, no need to. I mean, if you don't want to pay attention, I just gave it away. But
yeah, I'm thinking maybe later in the summer, once we get closer to fantasy football or towards the NFL season, and we have clearance that there's going to be a season.
Yeah.
We might run through like a little fantasy, like either a mock draft or just some sort of like tips for anybody who wants to play.
Sure.
I've already drafted for I think 4 leagues.
Yeah.
And I've got a couple more coming up, I believe. So.
Yeah. I think for the 20 team that we're going to do later this year, I think I'm going to have to back down because a lot of the guys are really pissed off that we're doing 20 teams. So, I think I'm going to have to back that down to 14. But I don't know. We'll decide that another time. But outside of that, guys, it's good to be back. Good talking to you all once again. So have fun. Enjoy tonight's opening night. Be safe wherever you are. And hopefully we will see you back next week. So
yes, sir. We will try to be back. I know we promised to come back with multiple shows a week, and then that kind of shit the bed because everything stopped, came to a screeching halt. Sure. So it's hard to really do anything. But hopefully now that we got content we can actually cover, we'll be good to go. And you'll have to carry the load on some hockey, but.
Yeah, I was about to say, we got that in a week and a half, so we're looking forward to it. So
ready.
All righty, guys.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next week. Keanan Allstott here.
Me.
And him. So
Luke Perry. I'll put my Twitter in the thing if you want to follow it. You don't have to. I understand that I'm as cool as it's gonna get, but yeah, I'll be on there. I'm on Twitter all day. You'll know where to find me.
Yeah, he's a different kind of cat. His paw print different, as they say on the streets. So,
Yes,
we'll see you next week, and go Yankees tonight.
Man, Natty's baby.
Yeah, Cole with the perfecto.
Oof. Could be gone at first. You know it.
Oh goodness! All right, guys, we'll see you next week. All right.
Catch you. All right. Peace out, fellas.